Hello Year 5 and welcome to Maths again. I hope you have your pencil and paper and you're ready to complete your do now. Please unpause when you're ready to go through the answers. So let's see how you did. These are the answers for the do now. Don't forget to tick them before you upload them to Seesaw. Great. So today we are going to be finding multiples of 10% of numbers. Let's start with this. We're just going to recap here. And remember that percent means parts per 100. So when we say 40%, we mean 40 parts of 100, or 40 parts out of 100 equal parts. We can also write it as a decimal. Now we can say 0.4 because the 4 here is tenths. 8% means 8 parts out of 100. Or we can write it as a decimal, 0.08. 72% would be what is a fraction? Tell me. Good. 72 over 100 or 72 hundredths. And as a decimal, can you tell me? Excellent. 0.72. Fantastic. So let's take a look at this. If we need to find 10% of a number, these are the steps to success that we're going to take. The first one is to place the decimal after the ones and then place the 0 in the tenths. Step 2 is to drop the decimal. And step 3 is to move each digit one place value to the right. When we move it to the right, remember that we're making our number smaller. In this case, we're going to be making our number 10 times smaller. Let's just refresh place value here. So here we have 40. What is the place value of, what is the place value of 0? Is it thousands? Is it hundredths? Is it thousandths? Good, it's ones. And what about the 4? Good, this is tens. Excellent. Where does our decimal go? Yeah, it goes after the ones. It always goes after the ones. And what would be the place value next to it? Yeah, it would be the tenths. Fantastic. Okay, so let's go through this. 10% of 40. First of all, place decimal after ones. So I'm going to write 40 here, and then I'm going to place my decimal. Remember, this is my ones. I'm going to place my decimal here. And now I'm going to place a 0 in the tenths. Okay, I've done number 1. Number 2, I'm going to drop my decimal. So I'm going to drop my decimal here. And now I'm going to move each digit one place value to the right. So this is 1, and then 0, and then 0. Great, so my answer is 4. I can write it like this, 4.00, or I can write it as just 4, because there aren't any other numbers after the zeros. By other numbers, I mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If one of those numbers come after the 0, then I need to include them, but those numbers aren't. So let's see, 10% of 48. Can you tell me what the first step is? Excellent, so I'm going to write 48.0. Great. And what about the second step? Good, I'm going to drop the decimal. Fantastic. What else what's the third step? Good, I'm going to move each decimal one decimal place to the right because I've got 1 0 here. So 4, 8, 1 here, and then drop, and then 0 here. So my answer is 4.80 or 4.8. 8. Great. Can you please talk me through the final one? Good. 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 Now, it doesn't tell us in our steps to success here what to do next. Can you remember? Yeah, we always need a digit in the ones. So what must I put here? Good, I need to put a placeholder. So then my answer becomes 0.8. Fantastic. Okay, now we need to look at wholes, so the whole numbers, whose value is greater than 100. Now, when we say we're finding 10%, it's the same as finding 10 hundredths or 1/10. So actually what we need to do is we need to divide our whole number by 10. So, the same steps to success. Number 1, place decimal after ones. So this is my number, 10% of 150. I have 150 and I need to place my decimal after my 1 and then place my 0 in the tenths. There we go. Number 2, I'm going to drop the decimal. And then number 3, I'm going to move each digit one place to the right. So 1, and number 5 here, 0 here, and 0 here. So my answer is 15.00, or how else can I write it? Good, as 15. Fantastic. Okay, now can you tell me how to do the second one? What's the first step? Good, tell me what to write. Excellent. Okay, step 2. Good. And step 3. Good. On to the right, 0, 0. So my answer is 22.00 or 22. Fantastic. Okay, let's take a look at the third one. So getting used to this now, place the decimal after the ones, so 360.0. I'm going to drop my decimal and then I'm going to move each digit one place value to the right. So my answer is 36. Fantastic. Here are your questions for the first task. Please pause and then unpause to go through the answer. So how did you do? Let's take a look. Here are the answers. Number 1 is 2. Number 2 is 0.4. Number 3 is 5.4. Number 4 is 19. Number 5 is 32. Number 6 is 27.4. How did you do? Excellent. Okay, that was quite easy. Now, let's take a look at finding percentages that are multiples of 10. So now we're going to be looking at perhaps finding 20% of 200. Now I know that 20% is the same as finding 10% plus 10%, because when I add these two percentages, that gives me 20. So we need to find 10% and we need to multiply it to match the first percentage. These are our steps to success. The first one is to divide the percentage by 10. The next is to divide the number by 10. And then we're going to multiply the answers from step 1 and from step 2 together. Okay. So here I need to find, I'll use a different pen. I need to find 20% of 200. So my first step is to divide the percentage by 10. 20 divided by 10. Now, I can use my 10 times tables, 10, 20, which equals 2. Nice and simple. Now, divide the number by 10. So this is my number here. and I'm dividing that by 10. Again, I can use my 10 times tables, or I can use my cheat way, which is if both numbers have a 0, then you can just cancel out 1 0. The 10 just has 1, so I'm going to cross out only 1 0 from my number. And now this is easier. 20 divided by 1 equals 20. Brilliant. Now I'm going to do the third step, which is multiply the answers. So I have 2 and I have 20. 20 multiplied by 2 equals 40. And that's nice and simple. I'm just going to multiply these two answers. 2 times 2 equals 4, and then don't forget your 0. You can also use the column method, whichever you prefer, whichever you find easy. Okay, so let's take a look. 40% of 90. So we're going to go with this. Let's start with our steps of success. First, I'm going to divide the percentage by 10. So 40 divided by 10 equals 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, so that's 4. I'm going to circle that just so it's really clear to me. Okay, next. Next, I'm going to divide the number. So this is now my number by 10. So 90 divided by 10 equals 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. That's 9. So I'm going to circle that so it's really clear to me. My final one is to multiply the answers from step 1 and step 2. So 4 times 9 equals, here's my 4, the answer from step 1, and here's my 9, the answer from step 2. And the answer is 36. So 40% of 90 equals 36. Let's try this one. First of all, let's divide the percentage by 10. So what's my percentage? Good. And what am I going to divide it by? What's my answer? Good. Can you read the second step for me? Tell me, what is my number? Good, it's 450. And what am I going to do to 450? Good, I'm going to divide it by 10. Now I know my 10 times tables, but it's a little bit tricky getting to 450. So there's a really easy way, a cheat way. I have 1 0 here and I have 1 0 here. Now that makes it easier. 45 divided by 1 equals, 45. Well, I forgot to circle my answers because that's going to make it easy for me to see what to do in my final step. And step 3, multiply the answers in step 1 and step 2. Now I know my 3 times tables, but this might be a little bit tricky, so I think I'm going to use the column method. So 45 multiplied by 3. 3 times 5 equals 15. 3 times 4 equals 3, 6, 9, 12, plus 1 equals 13. Okay, so 30% of 350 is 135. Fantastic. Let's take a look at this one. First of all, divide percentage by 10. What's my percentage? 20. Good. Divided by 10, excuse me, equals 2. Now I'm going to divide my number by 10. What's my number? 8. Good. Divided by 10 equals. Now, this seems a little bit strange because I can't divide 8 by 10. But remember the trick that we used here. We're dividing by 10. So if I need to, I'm going to take my 8, I'm going to put my decimal and then my 0. Then I'm going to drop my decimal. And then I'm going to move my digit 1 to the right. So that's 8. And I can also put a 0 here. I won't because I don't really need it. But I need to remember that in the ones I need a 0. Good. So 8 divided by 10 equals 0.8. Sorry, I keep forgetting to circle my answer. You don't have to, but I find it's easier. Okay, now I'm going to multiply the answers in step 1 and step 2 together. So 2 times 0.8. Now this is a little bit tricky, but I'm going to add 0.8 and 0.8 together, because multiplying a decimal is a little bit tricky. So remember to place your decimal here. 8 plus 8 equals 16. Good. Regroup the 1. 1 plus 0 equals 1. So my answer is 1.6. Great. I'm just going to mention here, instead of multiplying, if you've got whole numbers, then please multiply. If you have decimals, it's easier to add them, as I've done here. Okay? Now, let's take a look at this one. We have to find 50% of 60. Now, I could go through these steps to success, but is there a more efficient way? What is 50 as a fraction? Can you remember? Shout it out. Well done. Yeah, it's half. So actually, a really quick way of finding out 50% of a number is just to divide it by, tell me, 2. Great. So I can use my bus method, or it's actually quite quick. It's actually quite easy to calculate this mentally, but I'm going to use my bus stop method. So 60 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 equals 3. 0 divided by 2 equals 0. So my answer is 30. And that way I don't need to go through all these tricky steps. So let's see, what is 50 of 150? Can you calculate it? Let's do bus stop. 150 divided by 2 equals 0 divided by 2 equals, good, 0, because we can't do it. So I'm going to regroup the 5. This becomes 15. 15 divided by 2 equals 7, remainder 1. 10 divided by 2 equals 5. So my answer is 75 is 50% of 150. What about if it is 60%? So what we're going to do is, we now know how to find 50% of a number, and we now know how to find 10% of a number. So we're going to use these two skills to calculate percentages that are over 50. If it's asking for 60%, this can be partitioned into 50% and 10%, because I know 50 plus 10 equals 60. Now, we know how to find 10%, and we also know how to find 50%. So 10% of 120 is 12. 50% of 120 equals 60. So finding 60%, we add 12 and 60. Let's try here. So we're going to partition the percentage into 50 and the remaining amount. So here we have 50%. And what else? What do I need to get 60? Good, 10%. So I know that I need to find 50 and 10. Now I need to find 50 by dividing the number in 2. So 160 divided by 2 equals, now I can do bus stop method, but I also know that if I just look at 16, that's really easy to calculate half of 16. I know that half of 16 is 8, and then I just need to remember my 0. And I'm going to double check that. So if I multiply 8 by 2, 8/16, do the inverse, it's 160. Fantastic. So I found 50%. Now I'm going to find 10% by dividing my number. So 160 divided by 10. And again, this is quite easy. It's got a 0 here. So I'm going to cancel them out. 16 divided by 1 equals 16. Great, so now I found 50% and now I found 10%. Now I'm going to add the 10s and the 50s together to make the percentage. So 80 plus 16 equals 6. 8 plus 1 equals 9. So the answer is 96. 60% of 160 equals 96. Let's try this. 70% of 90. So first I'm going to partition my percentage. So I always start with 50% if it's over 50, and then the other is 20%. Okay, 50 plus 20 equals 70. Great. Now I need to find 50% by dividing my number in 2. So 90 divided by 2 equals, and again you can use bus stop method, but I know that half of 90 is 45. Great. Bus stop method, if I were to, would be this: 90 divided by 2. 9 divided by 2 equals 4, remainder 1. 10 divided by 2 equals 5. Okay. Now I'm going to find 10% by dividing the number by 10. So here's my number: 90 divided by 10 equals, again, 10 times 9 equals 90, so I know that that's 9. Excellent. Then I need to multiply to match the other partition in step 1. So I found 50% here, but I'm not finding 60. I need to find 20. So remember all that work that we did previously? What do I need to do? I now need to multiply 9 by 2. Because I'm looking for 20%, not 10%. So that's 18. I'm going to circle that. Okay. Now I'm going to add the 10s and the 50s together. Yeah. Remember, that's my 50%. So 45 plus 18 equals 5 plus 8 equals 13. 1 plus 4 equals 5 plus 1 equals 6. So that equals 63. Here we have 90%. Now, instead of going through all of this, is there an easier way? Is there a more efficient way to do this? Yeah, what we can do, first of all, is we can take our number, 70, and we can find 10%. 70 divided by 1 equals 7. Now, instead of calculating all of this, we can just subtract it from our number, because I know that 90 plus 10 equals 100%. So instead of finding 90, I'm finding the missing 10%. But I need to subtract it. So 70 take away 7 equals 63. So here's your independent task, your second independent task. Unpause when you're ready to continue. And the next 3 questions. Unpause when you're ready for your answers. And here are the answers. Fantastic. Okay, and here we are now going to continue to find the missing number. So here we have divide percentage by 10. Step 2, divide the product or the answer by the answer in step 1. Number 3 is multiply the answer by step in step 2 by 3, and then check the answer makes sense. So first of all, I'm going to divide percentage by 10. 10 divided by 10 equals 1. Next, I'm going to divide the product, so it's this, the answer, by the answer, so 12 divided by the answer in step 1. So my answer in step 1 is 1. 12 divided by 1 equals 12. Great. Now I'm going to multiply the answer in step 2. So here, 12 times by 10. And that's nice and easy. That's 120. Great. So 10% of 120 is 12. Now I know that this answer needs to be greater than this, so that makes sense. Let's try another one. Number 1, divide the percentage by 10. So 60 divided by 10 equals, good. Can you read out the second step for me? Good, so what's the product? What's the answer? 36, good. 36. You need to read it very carefully because we have the product or the answer and then the answer in step 1, which could be confusing. So 36 divided by, now you're dividing it by the answer in step 1, which is 6. Good. So 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. My answer is 6. Now I'm going to multiply the answer in step 2 by 10. So here's my answer in step 2, and I'm going to multiply it by 10, which equals 60. Fantastic. So 60% of 60 is 36. I need to check that the answer makes sense, and it's definitely greater than 36. Okay, I'd like you to tell me what to do here. What's the first step? So what am I dividing? Good. And what's my answer? Excellent. Be careful here. Good, so what am I dividing? Well done, 180 by 3. Good. Now this can be quite tricky, although what you can do, you can use bus stop method, but there's also this method too. 18 divided by 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 equals 6. Good. Okay. Next. Good. So I'm multiplying, which is by. Excellent. My answer is fantastic. Make sure that it makes sense. It's definitely greater than 180. Brilliant. Okay. Let's do one more. Divide the percentage by 10. What's that? Good. Divide the product by the answer. What's the product? Good. By. Excellent. Again, you can take this and divide it by 2 and then divide 0 by 2. If you feel more comfortable, you can of course use the bus stop method. 0 divided by 2 equals 0, and I'm going to regroup the 1. 12 divided by 2 equals 6. 0 divided by 2 equals 0. So we still get the same answer. Next one, multiply the answer in step 2 by 10. So my answer is 60. So my answer is 600, and then check that it makes sense. Yeah, I think it does because it's greater than 120. So now here's your independent task. Pause and then unpause when you're ready to go through the answers. sorry, there's an extension. You go. And now here are the answers. How did you do? And unpause for the answers. Fantastic. I know that was a little bit tricky, but just follow the steps to success. Don't forget to mark your work before you post it to Seesaw, and we very much look forward to your answers. Hope you enjoyed the lesson and speak to you soon. Bye.